Okay, so I think I've got done what you pretty much was after. I'm going to run through and explain it now. Um, in the sword script, run using the tags, we're doing our method with the object value. Um, I should come back to the sword script. Let's look at the main script. I've combined a few of your other scripts together. So basically, everything that happens on player added happens in this section. Just the one. We don't have it split over multiple scripts. So we're going to give the leader stats, and then inside the leader stats we're setting the time alive and the best time. I haven't done anything with the best time yet. You can figure out how to do that, I'm sure. Um, then we go on to when the character's added. Sorry for my youngest son making funny noises there. The character added, we then add the killer object value. So this is the object value that's going to hold the value of. We're going to put the player of the person who's killed, who's done damage last to it. So that's what we're going to do in the sword script. Um, we're then also going to get the humanoid root part. That's so that we can check where the player is, so that you can have your safe zone and you don't get points in it, because that was another thing you specified. We need the humanoid because we need to check whether they have died. So we're going to use the humanoid.died event, and it's not a problem at firing multiple times in this one because we're going to be taking the time alive and giving it to the killer. So even if it fires multiple times, it's just going to be giving 0 to them again. Not a problem. Only a problem if we go with another system and you want to add number of kills and stuff. Could be an issue. But it shouldn't be too bad. If it does, we just have to clear the killer value if that's the case. But I haven't bothered because we don't need to. We've got don't need these print statements. They were just for testing when I was getting it going, checking this all worked. Okay, the I don't think you actually need to do this. I just did it to make sure it was working here. So um, I'm just putting the value of the killer into a new variable called killer, but with a lowercase k. Um, and then going through that one, you was missing the lead stats off of your previous one there. So killer.leaderstats.time alive.value, because we want the value of that. And then we're going to use plus equals. It's just a quicker way of doing the same thing as you'd done. So where you've done this value plus it equals this value plus this value, we can just do plus equals, and that's like a increment of it. So you're going to say add this amount to this value. So we're saying time alive dot value. That's what we're going to add to it, which makes sense. This is just we've already defined that in this one. That's why it's nice and easy to do it all in one place. You see, we don't have to keep referencing things over and over again. Sorry about my son. Okay, and then obviously we've got your new billboard bit. This is the same as when we worked on it before. Um, we look at when the value changes in time alive to change the billboard's amount. That's all cool. And then we have the counter. This section is a little bit more tricky to follow. So while true do, so this is just a loop that keeps going. And if the humanoid's health is over 0, obviously, so if they're alive, we're going to be counting this. And if their position is basically inside a 100 by 100 around the center, because I've done, so if it's less than 50 and more than 50, minus 50 on the X, and it's less than 50 and more than minus 50 on the Z, then we basically just don't do anything. This bit's blank, just basically blank. And then if it's not that else, then we add 1. And we continue, we add a 1 here. And then this bit is, so if they're not alive, else here, we just break from this loop. Because we don't want this loop going on and on and on if they've died. Yeah, so it'll restart this loop when their character next gets loaded into the game. When this character added fires again. And all will be hunky-dory. Although I've just realised that this will connect each time as well. So we could really do with giving this connection a name. Let's call this local died connection, and then we'll what we'll do is we'll actually name it to this one. There we go. So now this connection is named to this, and what we do here is we then, before we break, we disconnect. Bam, done. Okay, so that should stop that firing over and over again, because we don't want that connecting multiple times. That should be good. The sword script, all we're doing here, all we're changing in the sword script is we're basically getting the killer, which is the killer value. So we're looking, because all the sword scripts already got all this stuff in here. Character with a lowercase c in this script is the character you're hitting. It's already worked it all out for you. And player with a capital P is the player holding the sword. That's already been worked out. So we just look in the character for the value, and then we say if it's there, if it exists, because just so this script doesn't fall over. If it exists, then the killer's dot value equals the player, because we only get to this bit of the script when the script is hitting another player. That's why we got here the humanoid take damage. This was the bit I was talking about where you're looking for where it takes damage. And it's already got in here some functions to add tags, but let's not use the tags version. That's going to get a bit more messy. You need to do a lot more for a more complete system where you're looking at all the players all the time, which is actually less efficient for the method for the thing you want here. So let's have a quick look at testing this. If I go local server, 2 players, so we got 2 players to test this against. I don't know what's going on with the sound things here. This is one of my test spaces. As you can see, they've got these values. They're not going up, but that's because they're in the safe zone. So if I run outside of the safe zone, it'll start going up. There we go. So now this value keeps start going up. This guy, let's get him outside of the area. There we go. Now it's going up. Let's run around. Oh, very loud sword. I always forget that. And if I kill him, there we go. I get the points that they had. This person's back to 0. And let's take those points back. And there we go. So I think that was kind of what you was after. I hope that's of some help to you. I will drop the script into your space and leave you to play with them and do what you like with them.